Okay, well, good Wednesday evening, New York Jet fans and NFL fans. It is November 12th, 2025, 4:54 p.m. You are watching The Takeoff. My name is Alex, and what would it be with another week and another Aaron Glenn media controversy? Even coming off of the win on Sunday, you still have Aaron Glenn with the controversies and going back and forth with the media, and you can't even, enjoy the win. So anyway, yesterday, Aaron Glenn comes out and he starts off his press conference like he would every other press conference, like they say every other coach does, and that is to go over the most current injury report or injury information. And basically he starts off with something, and I'm paraphrasing here. I'm not going to go over the injury report because it seems that you get your information from Rich Cimini. So Rich Cimini is a beat writer for the Jets. I think they said today between 35 and 37 years right now. And he kind of took the whole room by surprise. They asked, what do you mean? And he said, well, Rich Cimini knows the information. He's reporting things even before I say it. So he must have the information. You could ask him. And again, the room is kind of, at a loss for words. And one person said, well, with all due respect to you and Rich, we want to hear from you. And he's like, well, I'm not going to tell you. You can get it from Rich. So this stems to Garrett Wilson. So Garrett Wilson was hurt Sunday. I want to say in either the third or fourth quarter. I'm trying to remember when it was. I want to say it was the fourth quarter, if I remember correctly. And yeah, maybe. Maybe the third quarter. Anyway, that's irrelevant now. And he left for the rest of the game. And I can remember me telling my girls on the way home, we heard it was the same knee. That's what Aaron Glenn said after the game. It's the same knee that he had the injury that kept him out a few weeks. And I'm saying to my girls, if this is the same knee, maybe sideline him the rest of the season. He is right now your star wide receiver. You're at 2-7. You really need a tremendous turnaround to get within some relevant, situation with the season. So why go out there and, force what could be a more serious injury? But, excuse me, this is before we knew anything. So, a preliminary report came out like Sunday night, possibly 3 to 4 weeks. Was floating around the internet, floating around Twitter, and then Monday, Rich Cimini reported late in the afternoon, I believe, that Wilson would be out 3 to 4 weeks and he would not be going on the IR. So this pissed off Aaron Glenn because Aaron Glenn didn't give a time frame. Aaron Glenn didn't really give a diagnosis or prognosis on Garrett Wilson's knee. He just basically said it was the same knee. They're taking it day to day. So you fast forward now to last night, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Everybody's picking up on this. You can't even call it confrontation because Rich Cimini wasn't even in the media room yesterday to meet with Aaron Glenn. He was absent, and I'll get to that in a little bit as well. But basically, it turns out that Cimini was absent, like I said, from yesterday's meeting. He went on the ESPN morning show this morning. I think it was DNR that I listened to, and he was saying that it's probably the first midweek media meeting that he's missed in his whole career. He can't remember ever missing a midweek media meeting. And he is now on the Hall of Fame committee, I believe, for coaches. And yesterday was one of their first meetings. It was, a few hours long. It was a Zoom meeting, and he had to miss going to Florham Park. So he couldn't be there to address it. He did say that, first of all, he does not have a problem with Aaron Glenn. He said he reported back when he was hired, he thought it was a great hire for the team. And he doesn't know what this is coming from. But, he said, Aaron Glenn has my phone number. I wish he would have reached out to me instead of what he did. So I'm like, all right. So I'm listening to this, and I'm in the car, and I'm driving this morning, and I'm going for a 2-hour drive. I had to get to someplace. But I'm listening to the whole thing, and everybody is kind of bashing Aaron Glenn And maybe my loyalty is to the team, but first of all, I've never liked Rich Cimini. I will be very honest with you. If you read his tweets, if you read his articles, the daily articles, he is very sarcastic towards the Jets, towards the organization, to a point where it's like, and I've said this, it's almost like he gets a bonus for the more negative, the more sarcastic posts that he puts up against the team. And it kind of got to me. So, you know, he's on and he's saying all these things, and basically, you know, and he's an ESPN employee, and DNR is saying, you know, he didn't know what's wrong with Aaron Glenn, why he did like he did, but you know, just another day, and the quarterback situation. So listen, I am from the old school, and I know you cannot compare Aaron Glenn to a head coach that has the record that a Bill Parcells, a Bill Belichick, a Gruden, a Mike Ditka. You can't compare them. Not now, and maybe not ever. Hopefully one day you could, but right now you can't. And you could see the way they would answer the media. They got tired of the same questions, and I'm just looking at the deer that are looking at me. They get fed up with information they don't want to give out, and pretty much they just mum. How many times did Belichick say, well, we're on to Cincinnati? Well, yesterday, you know, we're on to Wake Forest. But being Aaron Glenn, being 2-7, being in the season that we're having, with everything wrapped around, it just gets magnified. Now, I also believe that you're the coach, you represent the organization, but you're also leading this media press conference. Whatever you want to disclose or not disclose is up to you. If you have to disclose that there's injuries, you give them as much information or as little information as you are possibly allowed to do. The media to get all crazy about this. Now, maybe if I was in that media room, I'd be a little more upset also. But it goes back to when Fields got hurt. Okay, Fields was in the concussion protocol, I believe. And I don't know if it was between week 2 and 3 or I think it was between week 2 and 3. He got hurt, I believe, in the Buffalo game. And Glenn came out on Wednesday, named Tyrod Taylor the starter. And right away the media said, well, he named him too early, and you're giving Miami, or Tampa Bay, I believe it was at the time, Tampa Bay, the upper hand for naming him too early. And then he comes out 2 weeks ago, and he says, I'm not going to name a quarterback until later on in the week. I don't want to give an advantage to the opponent, and they get mad at him for that. So what is it going to take for everybody to play nice? I mean, we're all supposed to be friggin' adults, and we're all supposed to be playing nice. Now, I get the banter. I get the alpha dog, you know, type personalities in the room, whichever you want to call it. But you know what? And I finally got through to ESPN today, and I spoke to Bart and Carlin, and they didn't agree with me. They said that Rich was doing his job, and I get it. But Rich really wasn't undercovering Watergate. He was undercovering Garrett Wilson getting hurt. So, to me, okay, the way I feel is, you said Aaron Glenn has your phone number. He should have called you if you had an issue. My point to Carlin and Bart Scott was professional courtesy. Hey, coach, listen, I got this information. Before I run with it, I just want to confirm with you. I'm going to run with it anyway, but I just want to confirm with you. Garrett Wilson out 3 to 4 weeks. He's not going to go on the IR yet. That's it. Whether Glenn says run it, don't run it, whatever, he could do it. But he didn't do that. And then he wants to know why Glenn is pissed. Now, could Glenn have come out and not addressed it and addressed it personally? Yeah. But both sides don't. They just, I don't know what the problem is. I'll go back to Cimini. I have never liked him. 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, I'm driving, taking my daughter to school, and I'm driving back listening to WFAN, and Boomer and Gio are on. And again, the Jets, you know, not playing well. I'm not sure if it was Gase's last year or Saleh's first year. I really don't remember, because it all kind of wraps into one after a while. And believe it or not, there was a time where I could tell you everything that happened in every game that I watched, but can't do that now. But anyway, Cimini had these tweets and these reports, And it was just eating at me because it was like talking to an opposing fan, not the team beat writer that is on the sidelines for every game, that's in Florham Park or Hofstra every day, that's dealt with the numerous amounts of coaches and starting quarterbacks and GMs and whatnot. And I called into Gio and Boomer, and I finally get through, and I'm telling him, and I said, hey, not for nothing, it's almost like he gets a bonus for all the negativity that he posts, for all the sarcasm that he posts. And these reporters got to understand, I know it's another day at the office for them, but they're almost like living out a dream of what us, our fans are. They get to be with this team every day, okay, covering this team, getting information from this team, reporting on this team. If he hates this team so much, or he hates what he does so much, I can just do without him. And Boomers and Gio said, name the reporter. And I said, Samini. And Boomer immediately said, I told Rich years ago, you need to go be a beat reporter for another team. For your own sanity, for your own, career or whatever, for your own happiness, go be a beat reporter for another team. Get away from this team. So other people see it. But now Bart and Carlin today are telling me how much of a stand-up guy Samini is. And listen, I get it. There's that camaraderie amongst, the media now. Bart used to be a player, but now he's media. And there are people that are much more sarcastic, and I don't see it. Not for the Jets, no. I could see a fan being more sarcastic, but I don't see it for the Jets. So, they kind of went against what I said. That's fine. That's their opinion. I have my opinion. There's so much negativity on this team, and they need clickbait, okay? They need clickbait. It started with Fields' toe. It went to, Fields not, being named the starter with Tyrod taking over. Why'd you do it so early? To, why are you not telling us who's starting? To, I can't believe Woody Johnson raised the ticket prices. I can't believe that Aaron Rodgers had to pay for a food truck. Like, they never pick up the good things. They didn't report on how beautiful the Nick Mangold tribute was on Sunday. It was very, very barely touched upon. But talk about Aaron Glenn not giving information on who's injured. And it's just ridiculous. And it's just a microcosm what this season has been so far. But we have a game to play tomorrow night. We are on a 2-game winning streak, albeit 2 games that we had to pull out late in the fourth quarter. We won by 1 score. And, we played 2 Ohio teams, so we got Ohio's number. And we basically, won by the skin of our teeth. But we won. Now Justin Fields, he had, I think, 56 yards net passing on Sunday. Before that, I think he had 12 or 13. He got 42 on that touchdown to Breece Hall. I believe it was 42. So if you want to say, we won, luckily, yeah, we did. We had 2 special teams scores. But you know what? Special team scores count. And I get that you want to go out there and you want to be that offensive juggernaut, but we know we're not going to be that. And people said that before the season started. So why surprise now? I don't know. The penalties have been at a minimum. Okay, special teams have stepped up. The defense has stepped up. Now, they haven't had a takeaway other than a fumble recovery all year. No interceptions, but, we're talking about a team that 3 weeks ago we thought we're going 0-17. They won 2 in a row, and I know it's not a big accomplishment, but you know what? It's good to get a win because you need that culture. I can't stand the people who say, I want the pick. We've had a top 10 pick how many years in a row? I want the winning culture. Maybe winning culture and then good draft picks will build upon each other. They'll work together. But anyway, we're playing a hot New England team that I believe has won 7 in a row. They seem to have found a new head coach in Vrabel. They seem to have found their quarterback in Drake May. And listen, they're a force to be reckoned with. And Buffalo had a 6-year window to take over the AFC East and get into the big game. And they did get the AFC East, but they never made the big game. And New England is right back there now. And Buffalo lost to the Miami Dolphins, who their coach would look like it was on the outskirts a few weeks ago. They got rid of their GM. So it's just, listen, and I've said this many times, you have a 17-week season. You know, the season goes very quickly. It is a microcosm of an NHL, an MLB, or an NBA season. You know, you get your wins when you could. You know, I said to my daughters the other day, Herm Edwards used to say, an ugly win, we were like Shrek. I'll take 12 Shrek wins over 3 Beauty from Beauty and the Beast wins, you know, if you want to go that way. I don't know what team is going to show up tomorrow night. Now, New England Jets has always been a good matchup for the fans, but there have been games where we just got blown out by them. You know, couldn't even get on the field with them. And then there have been games where, you know, what was it, 2 years ago, where we look like we're going into overtime and they score on a kickoff return, but no time left on the clock. You know, so Thursday night, short week, no Garrett Wilson, which is tough. And there's a big-ass deer looking at me. And I don't know what to expect, but you want to hope they come out fighting. You want to hope this defense builds. You want to hope the special teams builds. And you have to think that Tyrod Taylor is one drive away from coming in. And I wouldn't blame Glenn for that, even though they probably would afterwards. And we got to see. Listen, I'm going to root for them. You know, they say expect the worst and hope for the best. But defense has to score. Defense, as much as it's improved that they've gotten, they have not put any points on the board. Basically, I think the special teams is right there up there with the offense, which is not good. So we shall see. They go up to Foxborough, they go to New England Thursday night. It's always a high energy atmosphere, regardless, electric atmosphere, regardless of these teams' records. And now the tables have gone back to New England running the AFC East. And I think a lot of people said last year with Rodgers, and then with Glenn coming in, it's the Jets' window now. Maybe Josh Allen is not going to be able to take that next step. And who knows what Vrabel's going to be. But Vrabel stepped in, and he's getting it done. So anyway, I'm hoping that there's no more drama. This team does not need any more drama. And when the team is winning, the drama is kind of laughed upon. It's kind of secondary. It's, we'll get past that. But when a team is finding it hard to get into the end zone, and a team is finding it hard to get wins and to get off the field at some points, the drama is just another, another obstacle in front of them. Like I said, I'm no way condoning with Aaron Glenn or how he handled his press conference, but it's his press conference. He's running the press conference. The media is not. Okay? And you could be friends with the media, you don't have to be friends with media. And the media could say what they want to say or not say what they want to say. In the end, as a fan, all I care about is that column on the left, the win column. Keep adding to those win columns. Keep getting better. And I could care less what they report about you. And I'm sure the players could care less what they report about them. The one thing Glenn needs to look into is who leaked or who gave the report on Garrett Wilson. That's what gets me. Who gave this report on Garrett Wilson? Who leaked it out? Now, it could be Garrett, talking to Sweeney or somebody and saying, yeah, it's dinged up my knee. It's a short week. I'm not going to play this week. Probably won't play the next week. So you're looking at like 3 to 4 weeks till I'm back. Possibly. Maybe that's what happened. Maybe he got in touch with the agent. Hey, listen, Glenn won't open up about it. I don't know. And I don't want to say who has given this information because it's not fair to speculate. But it could be anybody. It could be anybody in that building. It could be anybody who's friends with Garrett Wilson. It could be another player just saying, oh, yeah, I heard we just lost DW, for 3 to 4 weeks with that knee again. Who knows? But listen, it is what it is. I spoke my piece on ESPN today. Made me feel a little better. Doesn't change anything. Team is still 2-7. Team still has to go up to New England and beat them. And, Rich Cimini has a job to do, but I don't have to agree with the way he does his job. I don't have to like the way he writes. And that's just the way it is. I don't know what... So this vlog or this blog, or whatever you want to call this podcast, to me, is just a way for me to connect with more Jet fans. I don't get paid for it. We don't look for money. We just look for people to follow us and subscribe to us on YouTube and whatnot. That's it. Just to get more people, gathered, more fans gathered with us. But I will say this, and this guy just didn't even slow down. I will say this. You have to have some integrity. Okay, so if you're going to sit back there and say, I have the clout, I have 35 years, you can use your clout. Okay, you can use your connections, that's fine. But you also have to see these people every day and just put your head on the pillow at night. And I think Glenn at this point is just frustrated that, hey, you want to know what's going on? Come to me. Let me know what you want to know. And maybe I'll let you in. Maybe I won't. That's my prerogative. You want to go out and get the story? I'm going to also make a statement about you getting that story. Maybe that story is true, maybe it's not. You don't know that. But anyway, listen, I've gone on long enough about this. Jets have a game to play tomorrow night. I'm not usually up for a short week, but I love that we get football, 4 days after we just had a football game. And we'll see what happens. So, again, you're watching The Takeoff. My name is Alex. You could follow us. You could meet us and follow us on Twitter at The Jets Takeoff, or is our Twitter handle. You can subscribe to this YouTube video. The Takeoff is our account name. The Jets Takeoff, or at The Jets Takeoff, is our channel name. Email us at thejetstakeoff@gmail.com. Send us a message. Let us know what you think. Are you going up to Foxborough on Thursday? Do you side with Cimini? Do you think Glenn is overreacting? We'd love to hear from you. Have a great week. Have a safe week. Have a blessed week, or a blessed week, whichever you say. Be healthy, and we'll talk soon.